Pirates have lost their last 2 matches and Chiefs have not won their last 6 matches in the league. So this match is going to be interesting but boring. Either way, how will Kaizer Chiefs approach this game given the fact that there's also a final in 7 days' time? And most importantly, who is going to start? Hello and welcome to Khosi Nation Fan TV. I am Bilo, I am your host, and this is where fans meet and talk about Kaizer Chiefs, Khosi Football Club. So there's been a lot of talks and there's been even videos, compilations of Vuma stinking up the place, making the same save, basically giving the opponent the ball again. But there is also this thing that we've clearly seen with Nazrat Nabi, that there are certain players that it just does not change, and you already know those players in your heads. There are certain players that just don't get changed, and as a coach you're thinking to yourself, yeah, it looks crazy if I just change the keeper. But is it really crazy to change a keeper who's been drinking you the whole season? I don't think so, but Nabi thinks so. So I think Vuma will still continue as the preferred goalkeeper, which brings us to the right back position. The past 2 games, Dylan Solomons has been stinking up the place, just like with Vuma, and that is the end of Solomons' halftime substitution in both games, because he's been so bad, like he's been horrible, and then the coach just took him off. So with that in mind, I think that the coach will just go with Uzita Kwineka, because we've seen that Kwineka has been coming back into playing here and there, and given the fact that Frosler's shoulder has been dislocated, and we've seen that Nabi is completely frustrated with the guy who Solomons. I think Solomons and Kwineka will come back and play in that right back position. Centre back pairing, we saw Miguel coming back in the previous game, sitting on the bench, not starting, so that has given him like 2 weeks of being out of action. So I think that tomorrow it's the game that he finally comes back, also to just become match fit before next week Saturday. His partner Udove, we've not heard what's the story and what actually happened with his injury. So between him and Cross, I actually don't know who might end up starting. And given the fact that Umashiane, did he finish last week's game? I think it was taken off because we're losing. Was it even last week? I don't know anymore. But I think that if Udove is back, then he plays alongside Miguel. If he's not back, then he doesn't. And Umsimango, who's been on the sidelines because of the fact that what was it? It was a precaution, right? I think that if Udove is not there and they're not trusting Mashiane, Msimango could come back and play alongside Inacio Miguel, because I think that combination worked against Sundowns. Which combination worked against Sundowns? Oh, it was the Dove Msimango combination, but this time I think Msimango and Miguel, since it seems like both of them are ready to play, which then means left back will be Bradley Cross, since the Dove thing we're not getting. Which brings us to midfield position, because you know, one thing that I've been saying is the fact that Cele was supposed to be rested, and he's not been getting rested, and he's played again and played again and played again. And I won't lie, in the past 2 games, Cele has not looked like the Cele that came to Chiefs in January and we're all happy and excited. But just for 2 games, I do feel like there is that thing of, yo, I'm doing this by myself, but also there is one eye on the final. Let me not commit too much, because remember that injury scare that he suffered just before the Sundowns game. Now he's thinking, I might get another injury before the final. So I think that he's very much conscious, subconsciously thinking about the fact that if I pick an injury, then I'm not available for the big game, the final. So yeah, I think that Ucele will definitely still be played, although I doubt that he will be applying himself as much as we would want him to, because of thinking about the final. And also the coach will have to play Ucele, because he does not want to come across as someone who's given up on the league or not winning the league, but rather performing in the league so that we make it to the top 8, because we know how important the top 8 is to Kaizer Chiefs. They wanted to win they wanted to be in the top 8 rather than win the Champions League. We've heard so much from Kevin Hunt, so it's crazy business. By the way, if you're enjoying the video, please make sure to like the video, because you're definitely not gonna like the person I'm gonna say is gonna play alongside Cele. It's obvious, it's always gonna be Mart, although I would have preferred it if it was Ungcobo. That combination of Cele and Ungcobo has been very good, but they're just never gonna play together, it seems like, until the end of the season. So yeah, Mart, Cele, midfield, which brings us to the number 10. Sereno is back from injury. Mdu played last week, and I heard some disturbing rumors about Ushabalala in this past week. I was like, what? I can't believe it. So I'm not gonna say it here because there was no proof, no photograph that he actually did what people said he did. So I'm just gonna move on. Maybe you've heard it, so the people who've heard it will talk about it in the comments, but I won't say what I heard, because you've also seen it on social media. So yeah, I think the two Sereno will be played, obviously, because out of the two, as much as now Sereno has not been the brightest in the matches that has played recently, but it's been much better than what Ungcobo has been in the not Ungcobo, what Ushabalala has been in the previous games that he has played. I think after that injury, the kid just disappeared. He just never came back as himself, because it was like, I even said it without shame. I said he was the most important player at Chiefs. Like the first part of the season, he was scoring, he was assisting, his energy in pressing and all of that. But now he's just disappeared and his confidence is down. And the losses, obviously, it's understandable. They will get to you. But yeah, he's still a quality player. But Sereno will still start. Which brings us to the left wing position, because we welcome one Pule Modi, which is great, right? Because when Pule Modi was not there, we played Lilepo there and he cut in from that side and he ended up scoring, which was great. But we're just not sure about the other person who was playing in that position, because who did the coach play on the right? Yeah, he played with Dupree. And yeah, the less I say about Dupree, the better. Just the less I say, the better. Yeah, so welcome back, Pule Modi, and you're starting in the left wing position, which brings us to the right wing position, which is Lilepo. Now, this is what I want to do with the two people. So last week we saw Lilepo and Dupree swapping. I want to see the same thing. I want maybe for the first 10, Lilepo on the right, Modi on the left. Then 10 to 20, Modi goes to the right, Lilepo goes to the left. 30 to 40, keep on swapping. Confuse Hoto and who's going to play right back, Van Rooyen of Pirates, and make sure that you're constantly switching and you are keeping them guessing on what is happening. Because one thing that I also need with Lilepo is for him to stop just thinking, oh yeah, in position, I hack the line, and that's all I do, because that's all he ends up doing. He just stands there and does nothing and doesn't get involved with anything else that the team does. So we need to fix that. Up front, Duba is suspended, which is good news because he's then available for the next game. Imagine if he had played the previous game and not gotten suspended, and plays this game against Pirates, gets suspended. Oh my days. Because who would we have up front? No one. So I think that since Chiefs will try to put pressure on Pirates and press, both Duprees and Morris do this thing very well. But also thinking that Pirates might have most of the ball, and given the fact that Duprees has started in the previous game as a winger, I think that he will start as a striker this time around, so that in transition Dupree can be there. But then that's a problem, because Dupree is not really a striker, and I've said this before, he's not a striker. But we keep on forcing him to play there, and it just stinks up the place. And I think even if you do play him as a striker, he better come on second half. First half is just not for him. Would I rather see Morris? To be honest, I would rather see Ranga, because at least he can score. Talking, and there is a low confidence on these players. But yeah, that's the squad that I think Nabi will play. Who do you think he will play, and what is the result? I said, I see a long, boring 0-0 draw, if not a long, boring 1-1. But what do you guys think? Let me know down in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, remember, equals Al Pelo Moya.